In this video, we will have a deeper look on our user management. Therefore, you go to your setup, type in users, and you see here your users page. In general, you have three options to create a user. You can either create one user manually, you can create multiple users manually, or you can also upload users via the data loader or import it. So let's start step by step and just create a new user. Let's call this one Marcus Fox. Type in an email. And give him the username. You see here the nickname is already produced here by Salesforce. It's perhaps easier to type in your own one here. Now, what's very important here is your username has to be in a form of an email address, but you can use one username. You can only have one username across all Salesforce instances. Good example, as you work as a consultant, you may have accounts in 10 different Salesforce instances. You can always have the same email address, but you can't use the same username. So for example, let's say I have this username already in another instance, so I have to change it here somehow and call it perhaps marcus@forcefox.com.fox or something. So you can only have one username across all Salesforce instances. That has to be unique. You can choose your email address for every instance. Then you'll be also able here to type in title, company, department, and division. What's now important here, you can select a role. So I will select the C-level here. We will talk about roles and profiles later on in this course. So just remember, you have to put in here a role for the role hierarchy. You have to choose a license. So I will choose our Salesforce license and a profile to it. As I said, at the moment, this is a system admin profile. We will take about roles and profiles. We will care about roles and profiles later on. Here, you have also the ability to add some more feature licenses. So first of all, once this is active, that's important to activate this user. Then you have also the ability to check in here the marketing user. So the user is able to also create campaigns. We have the knowledge user, for example, to also administrate the Salesforce knowledge. Here a Service Cloud user. You can go through it step by step on your own. The only thing what's really important here is if you want to use a forecasting feature, you have to check this allow forecasting here. Once you check the allow forecasting, please make sure that you really select here a manager. We will also talk about forecasting later on, but make sure once you want to use it that every user has his manager in here. You can also type in here a delegated approver. So let's say this user will be part of an approval process, and once he's not available, some other sales rep, management, whatever, should take over his approvals. So type in here this delegated approver. But to be honest, once you do it more practical, every user has the ability in his own settings to type in here a delegated approver. And also once he's a delegated approver, to choose here that he gets his notifications once he's delegated approver. So I would recommend to let the user do this himself, but it's also possible to do it here. Then once again, we have here the chance to type in the time zone, local, language, and currency. And as you already know, the user has also the ability to change it directly on the profile. So let's save this user. I don't need a notification now for the demo. And what you see here now, you have the user created, and you have also here now the ability to assign permission sets, to assign the user to public groups, to queues, and so on. And later on, you can also see here, once you click on the user, you can see the login history from the user itself, when he does log in, from which location, and so on. One special thing here is the permission set license assignment. Later on, once we implement CPQ, you will see every user who wants to work with a CPQ needs a permission set license for it and a permission set assigned. So now the user is created, you have still the ability to edit. You don't, or you're not allowed, or you can't delete this user. Once it's created, you can just deactivate it. Therefore, you go to edit and uncheck this checkbox and click on save. Now he's deactivated. Then you can also remove it from account teams. But let's say we do not want to, or let's activate him once again. So keep in mind, you can't delete it, you can just deactivate it. You can reset the password here. You can log in as user. That's what we did with the login access policies in a few videos before. And you can also freeze a user. So once we freeze it, it's just temporarily deactivated. Let's say it this way. So let's say, for example, one of your sales reps wants to go on vacation for 3 months and doesn't need any access to the system. You can just freeze it here, and once the sales rep is back, you can unfreeze it, and the account or the user account will be in the same position as he was before this sales rep went to vacation. So that's how we can create users manually. The next thing is we can add here multiple users at one time. On the right side, we have our role hierarchy. As I said, you don't have to care at the moment. And here you see the number of available licenses. And I've just created our second user in this org, so I do not have any Salesforce license available here. But just for the understanding, let's say I see here I have nearly 5,000 licenses for Cheddar Free. So let's choose here the Cheddar Free license. And here you see I can create multiple users, up to 10 at one time. The next thing, as I said, is you can also import users via the data loader. Later in this course, we will see how we work with the data loader, how we can import products and so on. For users, it works basically the same. There are just a few things you have to keep in mind, because let's just go to one user, and you see all these fields here have special names once you do it with a data loader. You see here that's are the required fields when inserting users, and there are also very good support videos how to insert users with data loader. So that's the reason why I will send you the link here, or will give you the link under this video to this article. It's very helpful once you really want to import users with a data loader. There is one thing I've been missing. As I said, we can deactivate the user by just uncheck this active one. There are two special cases. Once you go to your process automation settings, and you see here we have some default workflow user. And once the user is the default workflow user, you can't disable it. You can't disable the user or deactivate it. It's the same if you have a process or workflow just for this one special user in place. You have to first deactivate this one workflow before you can deactivate the user. So that's how you can create users. Then you can also, as an admin, create delegated groups for admins. So let's say you want to have also vacation sometimes, and therefore it's nice to have some delegated admins in place. Of course, they should also know how the system works, but therefore you can create a delegated group. You can create also more than one delegated group. And I've created here once this called admins. What I did so far, I just named it, and what I also did is I've enabled group for logging, it says. Means this delegated admin is also able to log in as the user. They're allowed to. As I said, this feature is quite helpful. So here you can add the delegated admins, whichever user you want. You can here also say which users they're able to administrate. So based on the roles and on a role hierarchy. So let's type in here our highest group. It's C-level, for example. And save it. So now whichever admin you type in here is able to administrate all users. You can also here choose the assignable profiles. So which profiles the delegated admin can assign to users. It's the same with permission sets and the same to which public groups a user can assign another user or an admin can assign another user. It's the same for custom objects. So if you have, you have your standard objects like accounts, opportunities, and so on, and then you create also custom objects, and you can add them here for this delegated admin to have access to. So that's everything to our user management. Thank you and see you in the next video.